All right, we're continuing on the mimer of the Rebbe Shlita that was given in 1953 on the holiday of Purim. And the Rebbe asks, it's found in what we call Maimerim Malukatim Hey, volume 5 of the discourses of the Rebbe. And the Maimer talks about, it begins with a very interesting question. Why do we call the holiday by the name of Purim? The Pur was a bad thing. First of all, it wasn't a major thing in the holiday. It was a side thing. Haman wanted to, God forbid, to destroy the Jews. And he worked his way up to the top to be the best friend of Achashverosh. He gave Achashverosh advice to kill his wife and get a new wife. And he gave the king advice that he should destroy all the Jews, and the king accepted it. And that was it. He was destroying all the Jews, and all of a sudden everything turned around, and the king did not destroy the Jews. But there's one little small, seemingly very insignificant episode in the middle of the story of Purim, that Haman, instead of just killing the Jews immediately, or trying to, or making some sort of an announcement that everybody could do whatever they wanted to with the Jews whenever they wanted to, or giving an order to the army or something like that to do it, as instead he threw lots. He threw lots. He threw dice or flipped coins or whatever he did, and he decided that it would be done. The lots came out on the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and it became on the 14th day of Adar. So it says that when it came out on Adar, he was very happy because that was the month that Moshe died, but he didn't know that was the month that Moshe was also born. Good, but it wasn't such a major thing in the holiday. Which month it came out on? Happened to come out on this. Could have come out on any month. The miracle was that he wanted to destroy all the Jews, and that he didn't, and exactly the opposite. But it's not. It doesn't seem that way. It seems that the holiday is called Purim because this episode about the throwing of the lots must have been a very central, or not just a very central, but the central motive of the holiday. And the Rebbe says, not only does that not seem to make any sense because it apparently was not so important, you call the whole holiday, but even more, it was a bad thing. The lots somehow or other were a way that Haman thought that he could destroy all the Jews. So it would be like calling it the gas chamber day or atom bomb day or something like that. Well, why call it on one of the weapons of destruction? The Pur was supposed to be the Pur, that's the dice or the lots. So the Rebbe said, okay, so we can understand that by understanding what's the difference between Purim and Yom Kippurim. You with me, Kobe? Purim and Yom Kippur. For now on, you go get coffee when you come on time. I know everybody's late. So it's 20 minutes after, 20 minutes late. And so it says we can understand, you have a pencil? We can understand this by understanding the difference between Purim and Yom Kippur. Let's take it from that paragraph, base. This will be understood. Al Maimer, what it says, Al Mavur, what's explained in Torah, or the Purim, right? It's the end of the first page. End of the first page. You with me? Purim and Yom Kippurim, Sheikhim are connected, zeh, one to the other. We did this yesterday, but I'll go over it quickly. Pirush Yom Kippurim. What does it mean? Yom Kippurim is that it's a Yom Kemo, like Purim. Yeter mizu, and even more, to mizeh Yom Kippurim hu Kippurim, from the fact that Yom Kippurim is like Purim, kafa dimyon bilvad, only like Purim. Next page. Do me a favor, please. Bring the tefillin over here. Bring the tefillin. remove the yeah. Oh, the tefillin, great, very excellent. Good. Here we'll put the tefillin over here. Very good, good. Oh, the fact that so Yom Kippurim is like Purim. In other words, they're equal. And some say no. Yom Kippurim is only Yom Kippurim. The Day of Atonement is only like Purim. Muva and muchach. This proves muchach. Write this word down. You don't need this word. Muchach. See where it is? You have it. Muchach. What do you have written there? What indicates right? Shapur and the Purim, who Na'ala is even higher, Yoter more, Yom Kippur. And from the connection of Yom Kippurim and Purim, one of the connections between Yom Kippurim and Purim is that in both of them, who Inyan is the topic of the Goral. Both of them is the whole topic of the Goral, the lots. Goral's lots. Lots, like dice or whatever it is. Lottery. Like the lottery. The raffle. But Yom Kippurim, that Yom Kippurim, he pure Goral, that they threw lots. Why did they throw lots on Yom Kippurim? Kobe? What? Why, Kobe? Think again. Why did they throw lots on Yom Kippur? What type of lots are Yom Kippur? We throw lots on the Jews. What? Who throws lots? Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur. What type of lots do we throw on Yom Kippur? Great. Totally wrong. You must learn it with Kobe. 3 more words. Goral, you have to pay attention. Rabbis, you're late. You are late. It's not the right page.
Shoot, I'm in the camera.
Okay, come on. Come on, let's go. What lots do they throw on Yom Kippur, Dov?
On Yom Kippur?
Yes. Let's go here. Yom Kippur, Hipirul, go. What lots did they throw on Yom Kippur? You went over this last night. Oh man, I don't believe this. Oh, on the 2 goats. Maybe rabbis, you got to pay attention in class. You also have to improve your sense of humor. That's another thing, but that's very, very basic. That was in the 2nd grade. You have to pay attention in class. What's this going on? What's going on here? We learned it in class, and we went over it last night. Okay, come. Yom Kippur, Hipilu, they threw Goral, lots. 2nd line from the top. Al an shnei seirim, on the 2 goats. What 2 goats?
2 goats that they bring and one they check off the map.
That's right. One they threw off the mountain, and the other one they brought back to the temple to sacrifice it to Hashem. But they had lots. Right? It says, Goralos, Goral echad la Hashem, but Goral echad la Azazel, it says. 2 lots. Remember we learned that yesterday? Yeah, we learned it. 2 lots. Good thing we went over this. Kobe, space in. Come on. For Gam and also, last word in line, Gam and also, Purim, who is Al Shem. Purim is also on the name of the Pur. That's a pasuk in the Megillah. Get a pencil. You have a pencil? Schneer. Okay. Clean the table off. Clean the table off so you can write. Pick it up, please. Okay. Extra pencil. I have a pen here. You have to. I don't have a pen. Oh, yes, I do. Here. You have to bring to class every day a pen or pencil. It's a prerequisite. You know what a prerequisite is? Like Purim. Prerequisite. Let's go. V'gam, and also Purim, who is al shem because of hapur, the poor. Which the poor is a goral. The poor are lots. V'od inyan. So that's the similarity between Purim and Yom Kippurim. On both of them there is the topic of lots. Good? Yes? Why? What's it got to do with lots? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why? They have two goats. Pick one goat. What's the big deal? Close your eyes and pick a goat. What do you have to have lots for? It says in the Torah, it's a pasuk in the Torah, that you have to throw lots for these two goats. Okay, just take a goat and sacrifice. What's the problem? What, they threw lots all the time to which goat is going to go to the temple? No. Only on Yom Kippur is the thing of lots. The Od also, Inyan, there's a connection. B'shaychus in the Od Inyan, another topic, B'shaychus in the connection of Purim and Yom Kippur. Sheshneim, that both of them, Haim, are Lamaila, above. Be with us, Shnir, tune in. Shem Havaya, first word in line is Lamaila, fourth line from the top. They are both above the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. Both of them are above God's name. Why are they above God? What does it mean to be above God's name? God's name, in general, the Torah comes from God's name. The Torah. The whole Torah comes from God. The Torah. What happens if a Jew transgresses the Torah? Can there be anything worse than that? You've gone against God Himself. So that's why we have Yom Kippur and Yom Kippurim and the holiday of Purim. Both of them will erase sins done against Hashem, against the Torah, against Yud Kei Vav Kei, against God's name. Both of them are above God's name. Understood? You get it? Sure. Both Yom Kippur and Kippurim and Yom Kippurim and Purim are both above the name of God. Like in Yom Kippur, Kasiv, it says, Lifnei, pay attention, please look inside. Lifnei Hashem, before God, Titoru. It's a pasuk in the Torah. Ki yom is, what is it? Ki yom is Chaper Aleichem Mikol Chataseichem. Lifnei Hashem, Titoru. It says before God you will be pure. Before God means above God. Lamayla mihavaya, above Yud Kei Vav Kei. V'gam, and also b'nogei Purim, also in regards to Purim, it's known that the reason Shalom Nizkar, that it was not mentioned Shem Havaya, the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, the name God, or in fact any name of God is not mentioned. But call Megillah, and the whole Megillah is Esther, who is Lefi, because Sheba Purim, that in Purim, who is Giloy or Ein Sof, the revelation of Or Ein Sof, Shelamayla mi'avaya, which is above Yud Kei Vav Kei. So in Purim, the whole Megillah, when a person starts to learn how to write, to be a scribe, to be a sofer, as the first thing that they write is, the first official thing they write is a Megillah. Tell them to write a Megillah. Why? Because in the Megillah there's no names of God. In writing, when you're a sofer, the name of God is very, very touchy. You're supposed to be very careful when you write the name of God, because you can't erase it. You can't erase it. If you make a mistake in it, you're not allowed to erase it. Name of Hashem. No, there's people who are experts and they know how to shave. They have like a very fine razor, and they shave underneath. You don't want to have a hole in the place where it was. You have to write there. So they know how to shave off right underneath. They shave off the name with a little bit of parchment underneath it. They can shave it, so it's like skin thin. Good. You have problems, but if they don't try, then there's nothing you can do, because you can't erase it. You can't stick a piece over it.
You have to go
It has to be on the. What's that?
Some people go to make
Some people do, yeah. But you don't have to know. Okay, so but because the name of God, so in the Megillah, there's not mentioned the name of God. So you might think that the reason that the Megillah is not mentioned the name of God is because the Megillah is not so holy. It's not such a holy book, it's just a story. It's a nice story. Says the Rebbe, no, the fact is the Megillah in some ways is even more holy than any other book of the Torah. And it doesn't have the name of God in it because it's above all the names of God. Something that's higher. How can this be? We'll see. Bior, shaykhs. Okay, now pay attention. Bior in the explanation, a shaykh is the connection. This now this mimer is a little bit difficult, so you have to pay attention. Good, please. Bior, the explanation, a shaykh is the connection. The shnei inyanim, the two topics. Hashva'a, in connecting, equaling, comparing. Hashva means comparing. Yom Kippur, Yom Kippurim and Purim. Now we're going to compare Yom Kippurim and Purim. Okay, now we've got to realize what's going on over here. Usually most people think Purim, right? In some places, there's places in Bnei Brak. Here, I'm sorry. The Yom Kippur, that Purim is like a sort of a day of destruction, sort of. Day of destruction. The kids, they watch. That's the day that they bring movies into the yeshiva. They watch, a Bridge on the River Kwai or something like that. Movies that don't have any women in it. And then they stand out on the streets and they spray cars with shaving soap. And do all sorts of crazy things and run around the streets, and the rabbis always have to tell the kids not to be in the streets. And there was even a gezerah, a decree that was made, they say, by Rabbi Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld, that there would be rain. It would always rain on Purim. And really, it happens. Every time in Israel, there's always rain. On Purim in the daytime. Purim in the daytime, in the nighttime. Sometime at Purim, there's always rain. It's because it dampens everybody's enthusiasm for being outside. It has to go outside. It's a miraculous thing. I don't know, an old thing. Who knows? What? You have to be happy, but it has to be happy in it's in a Jewish way, not to be happy to mess other people up. If that's what makes you happy, then you're in bad shape. So people, on Purim, they dance, they do mitzvahim, they usually on Chabad, they go to all the army bases on Purim, they go to the schools, in the schools, they...
I think last year we went with
Yeah, sure. Because in the army bases, in those places, they don't even know it's Purim. In the army bases, now it's a little bit more. There's more religious people, but Purim is just like every other day. Same thing as Chanukah. Chanukah, you light a candle in the nighttime, no big deal. But you go there and you show it's a big holiday. There's a lot of people put on masks and put on things like that. In Chabad, we don't put on masks so much. A little bit, the kids maybe, the little kids. The main thing is your attitude, and this explains what your attitude is supposed to be. Purim, why the happiness comes. Let's see. Now this connection between Yom Kippur and Purim. Yom Kippurim and Purim. Now Yom Kippurim is not a happy day. It's not a dancing around day. Even though it's not a sad day, Yom Kippurim, the Day of Atonement is not a sad day. It's a day that we know that God is forgiving us from all of our sins. But it's a very serious day. Very serious. It's not a day you jump around, you laugh. It's a day you fast. You fast, you spend the whole day praying in shul. It's not like the same thing as Tisha B'Av, for sure not. Tisha B'Av is supposed to be very sad. What? Wow, I hope not. I mean, this... Yeah, different holiday. Yeah. All right. Ubir Ian. Right, that was totally wrong, Shmuel.
Evil. Don't believe
that was good. That was good. Okay. Yuvin will be understood behektim by preceding Inyan Hagoral, the topic of the lots. What is this thing about lots? About throwing dice? or whatever it is, they're throwing sticks, whatever they did, flipping coins. What is this idea? Says the Rebbe, the throwing lots, who is Lamaila Miaseichel. It's above understanding. An intelligent person does not flip a coin. Right? There's people who they go to the racetracks. You ever see this? I've seen people who do it. They have a system of beating the racetracks. They have a system of beating the roulette tables. They go to the gambling houses. They have systems figured out. Right? Number 5, they stand there and they watch and they see which number falls the most number of times. If it falls like on the roulette table on the red or something like that 4 times in a row, then they know that the chance is going to fall on the black. And then the horses, they sit all day and they make calculations. They have computers and they figure out which horse is supposed to go. You make a choice, logically, you make a choice. Good, you can't be 100%. There's still the element of choice, of chance. But when you want to make an important choice, you use your mind. You bring experts. You do something. Hitler had a whole staff of astrologers. He had like 100 astrologers. And anytime he would make wanted to make an important choice, he would ask them what to do, how the stars were, what would succeed. That's what he did. And I once even read a book, I was into this a little type once, but I read a thing how he misread the stars on Normandy Beach, the famous thing Normandy Beach, when the Allies attacked and he didn't really prepare for the attack properly. He refused to use tanks, he used only planes, whatever it is. He didn't prepare properly because his astrologers told him that the attack was going to be up north or somewhere higher, that this was just a fake attack. And I read, and they showed in the thing how he made a mistake, how his astrologers made. But my point is, when you make a mistake, excuse me, when you make a choice, you try to base it on as many factors as you can before making the choice. Try to know everything. In his case, he wanted to know also the stars. He wanted to know as much as possible. So he tried to understand the enemy, and he had spies, and he had everything, etc. But also he wanted to know as much. Here Haman is trying to make a very important decision. He's trying to destroy the Jews. This is a big thing in his life. It comes out, it's like a main driving force in his life. Like Hitler, same thing. It was a main driving force in his life, was to destroy the Jews, even at the end of the war when they didn't have arms and they didn't have anything, they didn't have manpower. They tried in Hungary, they tried to destroy the Jews, everything they could. Yes? That's right. Doesn't seem that it wouldn't make any matter anyway. What difference does it make? That's a different question. Nevertheless, he thought he did do it. He didn't make his plan whenever he wanted to. He decided that the lots were very important. Why? You're going to see, it doesn't make any sense why. You're going to see it. It's even more nonsensical than we thought, that he was really going against lots. We'll see.
All he did was stop against.
We'll see, right. So if he wanted to get rid of the Jews, so he should have done it a little bit, at least logically, or at least with more. It doesn't make any sense. Either he should have done it immediately, right? If he was full of anger and he just wanted to do it immediately, and if he wanted to take time to do it, so do it logically, right? Find out all the best way. Maybe there's places where they hide, right? Do it according to the stars. Do it according to something. What is he waiting? And then he throws lots for. What's lots for? And we're going to see now that even more, that lots should have been in the favor of the Jews. What was he thinking? We're going to see in 1 second. You have to realize, again, like I said before, this decree that Haman made was the worst decree in the history of the world on the Jews. The Rebbe points out in one of his sikhs. He wanted to destroy all the Jews in one day. There was nowhere the Jews could run. He ruled over the whole world, like Kobe said. And he wanted to do it all in one day. There was no time for them to run. They had no time.
That's what's in the Holocaust?
Worse than the Holocaust, for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is, they both wanted to both destroy the Jews.
Yeah, but he couldn't. He would like to.
The fact is that they did destroy more Jews than Haman.
Sure, Haman didn't destroy anybody because it was a big miracle. Of course it was.
Just the decree.
The decree was worse. Sure, the decree was worse. And all of a sudden, the interesting thing is it pops up for Haman. He wants to kill the Jews. The Jews had no problem with Haman. He had no problem with them. They didn't do anything bad to him. There weren't Jews that were plotting to take his possession. He was sitting high. Haman was the second in command. He was the highest in the whole command. Mordechai and Haman had a bad scene together, but still, Haman was still number one. He was still number one, right? Mordechai could always embarrass. So kill Mordechai. Didn't like Mordechai, wipe him out. What's the problem? Sure. He could have just wiped out Mordechai. No. He didn't, it says in the Torah, he didn't want to kill Mordechai Levado. Right? He didn't want to kill Mordechai Levado. He knew what nation he was. So he decided he wanted to kill all the Jews. What did the Jews do to, exactly the opposite. The Jews all went to Achashverosh's meal. Jews were all a bunch of, how do you say, not nice to say, brown noses. Back then, they all wanted to be part of, they all were part of the thing. They went to the party. They wanted to be friends with everybody. They wanted to be nice. They were in politics. They were high. The queen of the whole country was a Jew. The queen of the whole country. And she was afraid to say that she was Jewish.
Vashti?
Yeah,
Esther.
Vashti Jewish. She was afraid.
Esther. He killed Vashti and he married Esther. It was a queen. It was the Jews were probably in the best political situation than they'd ever been in the whole history of the world. The Jews were sitting up high. The queen of the whole world was a Jew. She was Jewish, and she was afraid to say anything. Because he knew that she was going to kill. He killed his previous wife. She would kill him also. Haman said, Mordechai said to Esther, "Go and tell the king who you are." She said, "I'm afraid to go." She didn't tell. I'm sorry. Go and talk to the king. Plead for your people. She was afraid to go to the king. She said, "I'm not going to go to the king unless he calls me." Right? If you go without being called, you get killed. And Mordechai was sitting in the gate of the king, it says. All of a sudden, Haman just decided he wanted to kill all the Jews in one day. Right? For what? Why did he decide? So good, he decided it was a terrible thing. But all of a sudden he decides, no, I'm going to throw lots. Now let's see what these lots are. The Indian Agoro, the whole thing of lots, who is Lamaila above Miasechel. Shahari, that before, behold, Goral, the whole thing of a lot, who is Bichalal in general. When do you throw lots? When is it that you flip a coin? General, but stay devarim in two things, shavim, that are equal. Ukamo, and like Shnei Asi'irim, and like the two goats of Yom Kippur. Shahayu, that they were, it's a Mishnah, Shahayu, that they were shavim, equal, Bamara, in appearance. Where is this? In Bamara, in appearance, Ubakoma, and in height, Ubadamim, and in value. The two goats had to be exactly equal. There was no reason to pick one over the other. The kasher that when. Be with me, Shneur. The kasher that when. This word in line is shahayu. The kasher that when. Echad, man, one of them. Who is tov yoter, better. That when one of them is better, ein makom, there is no place. Legoral, for lots. If they are both equal, you don't have to pay lots. You just give the best one to God. Vadavka, but only. Shishnei, if the two devorim things, heim shavim, are equal. Cave, and since shemitzad haseichel, that from intellect and knows logically, when you have two things that are totally equal, because logically, what's this aleph aleph? What's aleph aleph, Kobe? What's aleph aleph? E efshar. It is impossible. E efshar. It's not possible. Lachriya. What's lachriya mean? What's lachriya mean? Shneir. You see where we are? You have the place? Last word in the line is mehem. 5 lines from the top of the paragraph. From the top of the paragraph. 3 words from the end. Lachriya.
Okay.
What's lachriya mean? What's lachriya mean, Shmuel?
Choose.
Right, to choose, to decide. Lachriya means more to decide more than to choose. Because it's impossible to decide. Okay, you wrote it down? Be'eza, in which, if two things are equal, because it's impossible to decide, be'eza mehem, which one of them? Livchor, to choose. Livchor means to choose, right? Somchim, we rely as then al hagoral, on the lots shelamaylam yasechel, that are above understanding. Va'al derech zeh, and similarly, who it is lamayla, above. What does it mean above?
Higher.
By God. So it is also by God. In this case, lamayla means by Hashem.
Yeah.
So is also by Hashem the goral, that when Hashem lots, like it says by the Jewish people, matov goralenu, the goral, who is lamayla mihishtalshus, it's above understanding. Lamayla mihishtalshus, above understanding. Goral. A non-religious person will call it destiny. Destiny. It's a goral. It doesn't make any sense. What's going to happen? What's destined to be? Right? Makes sense? Why does it make sense? This person was born with, he's 5 feet tall. This person was born 7 feet tall. Right? Why? That's his goral. That's the way it came out. Right? Destiny. We're talking about personally. We're talking about personally, right? We're talking about that's a destiny. That's a different type of a thing. What we're talking about. That's the thing that this is like the goal of the world, if you want to call it. Usually, it's called the word destiny. Maybe the word destiny is not it's not a common word that's used, so it doesn't mean. But that's what the person's goral is. That's another word. There's another word for it. They have. There's a word for it. A word in English. It's called what is it? Well, the goral is a person's his destiny. Fate. Oh, fate is also the same thing. Fate is something like that. What does it mean, fate? This is the way it's going to be, right? This is the goral. This is how it's going to be. You can't understand it. It's in a higher power, right? We can't understand it. Okay, you should understand that this is, by the way, this thing of fate and a destiny is it's a big trick in a way. It's a big trick because what does it try to do? A lot of times, this thing of fate and destiny tries to take away man's choice, free choice. In other words, like it doesn't make any difference what you choose or what position you take or where you take a stand or what you decide. This is the destiny. This is what's going to happen. Right? You can't change things. The essence of Judaism is that it's not so. That it's not so. Right? It's not so. Even if certain things are meant to happen, but how you accept those things is not meant to happen. In other words, you have free choice to accept things. So some people can be very rich, and because they accept it in the wrong way, that they want to be more rich, or they go crazy, or they're jealous, or so they wreck themselves up. Some people can be very poor, they can be sickly, they can be this, and because of their own how do you say, their own decision, self-decision, they overcome. They overcome. That's going to be the thing of Purim. We're going to see. The thing of Purim was the Jews were totally outnumbered. Their destiny and fate was totally against them. And Haman knew it. Haman knew how to twist things around so that it would be totally against the Jews physically, spiritually, even above spiritually. That's why he used the lots. We'll see. That is, and nevertheless, because the Jews took a certain stand, they woke up powers that were above nature, and that was turned the whole thing around. We're going to see what's going on over there. Let's see. Al derech, similarly, it is lamayla, above by Hashem. The goral is lamayla mihishtalshlus. It's above. Write the word down. First word in line. Mihishtalshlus means, what's mihishtalshlus means? The chain of creation. The whole chain of creation, from all the spiritual worlds to the physical world, that's called hishtalshlus. Above him, the spiritual. The chachma, he is reishi hishtalshlus. That chachma is the beginning of hishtalshalus. What's hishtalshalus mean? What does it mean, Shneir? Creation. Very good. That's excellent. Hishtalshalus is the chain of creation. The highest level of the chain of creation is chachma. What's chachma? Wrong. Good, but not right. No. Bina, if you want to say anything is smartness, it's bina is smartness. Bina is understanding. Bina is understanding. Chachma is called, maybe you want to call it intuition. something like that. Wisdom, how do you say, in English there's a word, conception, to conceive of an idea. You know, not understanding. Understanding is understanding the idea, is grasping the idea, right? But like you have Albert Einstein, all of a sudden got the theory of relativity. Bing! All of a sudden he got this idea. Chachma. It's above understanding. Then after that he tried to understand it. Even nowadays they understand. I mean, I'm not a physicist. Even now they're understanding new things about the theory of relativity. Is it true? Is it not true?
Right?
Different aspects of it. Eventually, from that, I don't understand how, but eventually they transformed matter into energy. You can't transform all matter into energy. Anyway, however it is, you got an idea, bing, that flash, that's called chachma. In Judaism, chachma is faith. Faith, what's above understanding. Chachma is faith, emunah. So what's above your understanding? Understanding is bina, chachma is above understanding. It says the highest level of the Seder Shtalshus of creation is called chachma, God's chachma. Goral, the level of goral, shehu, which is lamayla miya chachma. It's even above chachma, because it's above the whole Seder of Ishtalshus. It's above the whole creation. Who is lamayla miya Ishtalshus. Goral doesn't even make any sense. It's even higher than intuition. It's even higher than any idea. The whole thing of throwing lots doesn't make any sense. A normal person doesn't throw lots. Doesn't throw lots. What's he throwing lots to decide which car to buy? Why do you throw lots? The only reason you throw lots is when it doesn't make any difference to you. It doesn't make any difference. This one or this one makes no difference. Totally no difference whatsoever.
Can you do that?
What?
Can you do that?
Sure, you can do it. Why not? If the thing doesn't make any difference, you can, right?
Maybe you flip the coin?
You flip a coin, sure. Al Pisa, according to this, hashva'a, the comparison. Hashva'a. See the word hashva'a? You have that word? Al Pisa, according to this, hashva'a, the comparison of Purim, Yom Kippurim, Shebishneim, that in both of them, who inyan is the topic of goral of the lots, who is, right? That's why we have lots in Purim and in Yom Kippurim, because the lots show give of a revelation of Or Ein Sof, of the infinite light of God, infinite light of God, Shalamayla, which is above Mishtalshlus, above the whole order of creation. When there's a revelation of God which is above creation, how do you think it looks? It's a big white light, it's a big pillar, it's a big fire, it's a chasm, it's a star. What is it? It can't have any shape. The thing doesn't have any shape. Spiritual doesn't have shape. This is above the spiritual. This is above spiritual. Does that make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. If there's a revelation of something spiritual, like an angel or something like that, here you have all these religions that are based on an angel appeared to some guy, or that's just spiritual stuff. That's how do you say? That's the cartoon before the main feature. Right? They have billions of people that believe in this. An angel came and he spoke to him, and an angel revealed himself. Right? And this guy, he has the spirit of the Lord is on him. The spirit. What are you talking about, spirit? Here we're talking about, huh? No, all of them. The Muslims also. What's all the Muslims? The angel came down and talked to the Muhammad and spoke to him. Gave him the whole thing. Gave him the Quran. Talking about 1 billion people. What? Something like that. They think that this guy himself is God. They don't even. He's God. The whole thing is very. How do you say? Very science fiction-y, but there's billions of people that believe in it. About 2 billion people that believe in one form or another in this stuff. And it's all spiritual. All this stuff is spiritual. Here we're talking about the creator of the spiritual above. And when do you get this? Every Purim, every Yom Kippur. Every Yom Kippur and every Purim, the revelation of the essence of God above everything. What does the essence of God look like? Where do you see it? It's in a place, it's in a house. How does it look? So we're going to understand, something happens on those days, that something is totally above the whole entire creation, spiritual and physical. Yom Kippur, Purim. Shebishneim, that in both of them, who Inyan is the topic of the Goral. That's why in both of them have the topic of the whole thing of the lots, because lots in Judaism show on a level which is totally above Chachma. It's above even the spiritual worlds. It's above the whole order of creation, the essence of God. Shishneim, that both of them, we're going to see there's something even higher than that. We'll see. Shishneim, that both of them, Heimar, Lamaila, above Mihavaya from Yud Kei Vav Kei. Both of them are above the name of God. Ki, because Havaya, the name of God, Hu Hishtalshlus, because the name of God is what's called the order of the chain of creation. Yud. Why is God called by the name Yud Kei Vav Kei? Where did they make up that name? Who made that name up? Yud Kei Vav Kei. So that name tells us something about God. It's like when you call a person lefty, or you call a person red, right? Or you call a person a wise man, or something like that, a wise person. Okay? The name Yud Kei Vav Kei tells us something about God. What does it tell us? Yud is Chachma. Hey is Bina. Vav is 6. That's a 6 emotion. See, we have over here. That picture. Vav. The last Hey is what's called Malchus, God's kingship. God's kingship. All these are the 10 spheros. These Yud Kei Vav Kei corresponds to the 10. Shner, are you with me?
Yeah.
Spheros. 10 spheros. Yud is Chachma. Hey is Bina. Vav is the 6 emotions. Vav is 6. That's Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. And that's another name for that is Zeranpin, yes. And then there's Malchus. The last is Hey. Okay? High stuff over here, we learn. Ki, because Havaya Yud Chachma, Hey Bina, etc. And this, the Yom Kippurim, that Yom Kippurim. And Purim, Haim, they are Lamaila, above. Mihavaya, that the both of them are above the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, who is Gilui, the revelation. The Yom Kippurim of Yom Kippur, and the revelation of Purim, who is Lamaila Mishtal Shalu. It's above order of creation. And that's the whole thing of the Goral. That's why in Yom Kippur and in Purim we was the topic of lots. Because to show us that there's a revelation of God that's totally above any logic or spirit or any level of creation. The essence of God himself. Even above the Torah.
Let's say that in his divine providence, God wanted the biggest anti-Semite in the history of the world to be his vessel for...
We'll see why. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll see why. We'll see why it happened. God willing tomorrow. Good. Have a good day, everyone. Come on time tomorrow.